Hello everybody and welcome back to another full 18 course vlog. Today we are at Cheshunt Park Golf Course in Hertfordshire. It's a course I know relatively well because last summer when I was learning how to play golf, this is where you would find me. It's not too far from my house, it's nice and cheap, and also you could always get a tee time. Having said that, it is a very tricky course. It's par 71 and it has a slope rating of 132. Although my handicap is 16, I will be playing off 19 today off the yellow tee blocks. The reason I wanted to come back to Cheshunt was because I wanted to see how much I've improved since last year. I was shooting anything from about 100 to 115 on average, my best round here being 98. So after we finish getting warmed up with the putting and chipping, let's dive on to the first tee box and get this thing underway. So the first hole here is a 550 yard par 5 and it's SI7. Yes, that's right. 550 yards for the first hole of the round. Although they have a driving range here, I didn't get a chance to hit any full shots. So this was the first swing with a driver. I was a little bit nervous, but there is absolutely no reason for me to be nervous when I absolutely smoke it down the middle. After looking through the comments on the last video, you guys wanted me to add the distances to the shots, which I have now done, but please be aware that even though it says total carry, it should actually say total distance, because the only metric I can give you is how far the ball actually traveled. I don't know how far it carried. So you can see here, we decide to try and lay up with an 8-iron. Unfortunately, we do clip the trees, which is going to leave us something of a long shot into the green, probably about 140 yards down the hill. We were fortunate enough that the ball did come through though, and it didn't land on the cart path and ruin the ball. So can we find the green with our third shot? We do strike it pretty well, but unfortunately we do pull it slightly left and it trickles down the slope to the left hand side. Not ideal when we were looking for a pretty easy GIR there. You can see we have got the 60-degree out and we are going to try and chip this one up onto the green. Now I end up stabbing it out. I don't really know why. All of my practice swings were what I was really hoping for, but we end up stabbing it and it doesn't get the distance it needs to roll onto the green. We are on the fringe. We try to putt it on and we unfortunately leave maybe about 4 or 5 foot for bogey. Will we make it? It goes all the way round the flag and back out. Very unfortunate to make a double bogey to start us off. Hole 2 is a 312 yard par 4 and it's SI15. It is straight away, however there is a pond at 262 yards up, so driver is out of the question. So we'll be taking 5-iron here to try and run this one up as far as possible. Unfortunately, we managed to find the only bunker on the entire fairway. How unfortunate. It does mean that we're not going to be able to attack the green in 2 and we will need to just chip out. That is a pretty poor chip. We could have got that to go a lot further up and give us an easier shot in, but we have got about 100 yards to the pin here. We take aim with our 50-degree and as you can see, we do manage to push it slightly to the right of the green. So we are now going to be trying to chip / putt from the fringe for a par. As you can see, we leave it devastatingly short, leaving us with a knee knocker, which again we failed to put in, just lipping out, and we will have to settle for another double bogey. Hole 3 here is a par 3 and it is 202 yards SI9. We have once again taken 5-iron. I'm not really confident with hitting my 5-wood, nor did I think I need it, because if I do hit the 5-iron well, which happens rarely, it will go the distance. Unfortunately, this one has fallen short, only going 175 yards. However, it is a front pin, so it only leaves us about 16 foot to get to the pin. And up and down here would be really good. Let's see how good the chip is. It rolls just slightly left of the flag, which will leave us about a 3-footer for par. And it is going to be our first par of the round.
First par of the day. Let's go, baby.
Hole number 4 here will be familiar to you if you're an Absolute Bandits channel viewer. Me and Oakley played our first ever match here, and this hole is called Blasted Oak because it has a blasted oak right in the middle of the fairway in front of the green. Very frustrating to play. We are going to be taking aim with our 5-iron here, and we do hit it slightly right over towards the trees. This is a par 4 and it is 357 yards, hence why I used the 5-iron. I thought driver would just be too much on this hole. It has, however, left us in a tricky spot with that oak in the way. We are about 160 yards away from the pin, so I didn't feel like I was comfortable trying to get anything to go up and over the tree, so under the tree was the play. We take 8-iron and we run it up there, and we get very fortunate because it comes out completely the opposite direction of where I was hoping, coming out right instead of left and going around the tree that way. But we do make it through, leaving us a simple chip onto the green, or at least that's what I thought.
Oh my God, what?
Absolutely yanked it off to the left. I had just received a text message which had kind of got under my skin, and it had definitely played into my mindset, as you can see, getting very frustrated as we blade that one out of the bunker. We are in for a big score here already, especially when we use our 9-iron to bump and run it quite a sizable distance away from the flag. Will we manage to clear up for a double bogey? Unfortunately, we miss, and it is going to be a devastating triple bogey for the scorecard to put us 7 over through 4 holes.
Oh, flipping it, that's dreadful.
Hole number 5 is called Long One. It's a 431 yard par 4, and it is the hardest on the course. Plenty of fairway up ahead of us, so driver is the play here to make sure we get the distance to attack the green in 2. However, I decide that the pro line into this green will be to play from the fairway to the left of us. Not ideal, as we'll now be trying to come up over this line of trees. We have 175-ish yards into the pin, so we are taking 7-iron. Let's see how this goes. Fortunately for us, the ball does just manage to clear the tree line. However, it does go a little more left than I wanted and ends up in a greenside bunker. We're now going to be trying to get up and down from here to try and get ourselves apart and steady this ship, because it's all starting to get a little bit out of hand. The chip out of the bunker, or the splash out of the bunker, is no good. We're going to use the 9-iron to try and run this close. We hit it just way too hard off the downslope, leaving ourselves a challenging putt to come back to, which again we do not make, and we will be walking off the hole with another double bogey, 9 over through 5.
When will these double bogeys stop?
I was starting to think my best course of action would be to pick up the camera and walk off the course, especially since we've now just come onto my least favourite hole, where I once made 14. You can see that it is a long par 4, extreme dogleg to the left, and it is very tricky because you can't take driver, you'll run out of fairway. So we do take aim with our 5-iron. I absolutely flush it, and I was ecstatic with the result. But even though it was such a good strike, I still don't have a clean line into the green. I decided that laying up was the play here, because to take a 6-iron to clear the trees would have been very high risk. So I thought, take a pitching wedge, aim out to the right, and you won't be able to get into trouble. However, I managed to blade it and get an extra 30 yards that I was not expecting, and now we're in the rough. This is the life of a 19 handicapper, guys. However, we do manage to hit a pretty decent wedge shot here with our 60-degree onto the green, and we are now putting for par. So out of nowhere, it looks like we make a full recovery. However, we do just slightly miss the putt, but a bogey will be very welcomed on this very tricky hole. Next up is a nice and easy par 3. It's only 144 yards long. We take aim with our 9-iron because we didn't want to go long, and we unfortunately catch the right hand edge of the green, and it chucks me very, very far off course down to the right, hence why the 9-iron went 164 yards instead of 145 like I was expecting. Now you can see here that we have to chip up with our lob wedge. We actually managed to put a pretty good strike on it, and it does end up on the green. Now we are putting once again a long putt for par. Will we make this one? We have been putting okay so far, bar maybe a couple of holes. And you can see there the weight is pretty decent, so we will be tapping in for a bogey. No fuss, and we can move on to the next hole. I started to feel like I wanted to have a bit of fun. I took driver on this rather short par 4. It's only 365 yards. No need to take driver, but I thought, why the heck not? We absolutely smoke it down the middle, leaving us a very short chip into the green. We're a mere 60 yards away. Will we get our first GIR of the round? We take our 60 degree, we take aim, we hit it on line, and unbelievably we managed to get caught up in the fringe of the green. So that does mean that we are still without a GIR, which is one of our big problems so far this round. The putt is relatively good though, leaving us just a short amount to make our par. And will we sink it? We will indeed, much needed.
Let's get this started.
Hole 9 is a bit of a brute. It is an all uphill par 4 and it's 414 yards and it's SI3. We take driver and we actually hit it a little bit left than where I wanted to, but it did come round to the right, a little bit slicey, so we will take it. It does find the fairway, which is the main thing. We are a long way from home, being about 180 yards from the green. We managed to catch this one so thin, it goes an absolute mile all the way up to the back of the green, and it does hang on. You can see here that we are going to try and chip our 9-iron, bump and run it down towards the hole, a safer play than trying to take a 60 degree, which is what I'd usually use around the green on a downslope. Can we make this tricky downhill slider of a putt to make par? We can indeed. That is a huge par. That ends a pretty painful front 9. We are 11 over through the 9 holes with lots of work to do on the back if we are going to play to our handicap of 19. Let's see if we can make some moves on the back 9, shall we? This hole is called Candlestick. It's a very, very narrow SI2 428 yard par 4. We have to take driver because we need the distance, but it is very risky because of how bleeding narrow the hole is. We hit the driver, we clear the bunker on the left-hand side of the fairway, but we do manage to hang on in the rough, which is okay. It leaves us within distance of attacking this green. However, we do have another blind shot up and over the trees in front of us. We take pitching wedge and we do manage to hit it pretty well. In fact, maybe too well. I thought that I had hit this too far left, but it's not until we come round the corner to have a look at where the ball is that we realise we have made our first GIR of the round. The blood rushes to the head on the birdie putt, and although it's a narrow miss, it's left us going miles past and a difficult return putt for par. Don't miss this time. You don't want to 3-putt, and unfortunately that is exactly what we do. There really isn't much to say about this par 3 other than it's 169 yards long. We take 8-iron, just looking to get a GIR here and give ourselves a look at birdie or maybe even par. Unfortunately, we hit it out to the right, so we will not be doing any of those things. Instead, we'll be chipping on to try and get it as close as possible to the pin. Not far away, pretty unobscured line. And we do hit it pretty much on line. It does, however, just turn away to the left at the end. Another tricky uphill putt. And you can see there, once again, it does turn away from the hole and we will be having to settle for a bogey. Sometimes in golf, things just start to click, and for everyone that has managed to make it this far in the video, sticking with me through the hard times of the front 9, you are about to be rewarded. You can see here that we are on a par 5, it's relatively short, and this drive, which could have gone out of bounds, actually managed to stay in play. We find it up in the fairway after hitting a slight fade. If it had drawn, it would have been dead. We're 200 yards away from the pin. We take our 6-iron because it's slightly downhill. We do crush it and it actually goes left of the green. So we will be chipping up to see if we can get a GIR. And although the chip isn't particularly pretty because we were right up against the bushes, we do manage to make it onto the green. Putting for birdie. This is a better attempt than the last birdie putt that we had. And we do manage to make the par. Hole 13 is a short par 4 at 190 yards. The fairway closes up with the trees. So I decided to take 7-iron and lay up behind those. So even if I wasn't online and didn't have an obscured view of the pin, I would still be able to go up and over. We don't hit the 7-iron particularly well, but it does the job. We will have a shot in here. Once again, we are about 160 yards away, so we'll be taking 7-iron, and as you can see, we do manage to catch this one pretty well. It does travel all the way to the front of the green, and we have another GIR. Will we manage to make this putt though? Let's have a look. It's going to be a tricky birdie putt, but it is a birdie putt nonetheless. Never really got the read on that one, it just didn't turn back, but it is going to be another tap in par. Things are starting to come together in our round. You can see we're going on to a 353 yard par 4. We take driver, and although we don't strike it particularly well, playing more of a stinger, it does roll a heck of a long way in the summer, and we end up being within 100 yards of the pin, almost 100 on the dot. We take our 50 degree, and as you can see, there is a lot of wind. I'm not really sure if it was the wind or the fact that I pulled this that put this one offline, but we do find ourselves left of the green, which is pretty disappointing because we're not that far away. So we need to chip on, we need to get this close, we need to get up and down. It looks like a great chip, it's got the weight, it's got the distance, maybe a couple foot short of the distance, but also it was not online. Can we sink the par putt? Oh yes we can. On to hole 15, it's a 371 yard par 4, and it is a pretty tricky one. We take our 5-iron here, and I don't know what happened because I absolutely flush it. Now I do know that I got a good kick here, but to go 250 yards with a 5-iron is something that I have never seen before myself, especially since this isn't too steep a hill. If I'd hit it onto like a real downslope, I could understand, but this one just went and went and went, leaving us with 137 yards to get to the pin, and we hit pitching wedge pretty well, and you can see that we find the edge of the green. Not too difficult. We're going to take 9-iron and try and run this as close as possible to the pin. You can see it is traveling, but it just never turns in like I was expecting, leaving ourselves another one of these knee knocker putts. Will we put this one away as we have done so many times recently? Unfortunately, we do put it slightly past the pin, but a bogey after a run of 3 pars is not something that we're going to be too disappointed about. I was really trying to play sensible in this round. We come to a hole called Devil's Ditch, which has a ditch running across it at about 230 yards to 260 yards. Absolutely no need with a hole this length to be trying to hit driver. We take 5-iron, especially after we've just hit such a nice one, and we do manage to run it 200 up safely. Now we are a little bit left, so once again we are obscured from the green. We can't actually see what we're hitting at, but I knew as soon as I hit this that I had pulled it way too far to the left. I was aiming to go over the very right hand edge of the trees, and I was worried that I wouldn't be finding this one. Fortunately, we do find it in amongst the leaves. Autumn is well and truly here. It looks like a very, very good chip. As you can see, it rolls almost pin high. It's just a little bit off target. That is something I'll be working on in my practice sessions soon. We've got a chance to make par. Will we hold this putt? We will indeed. That's got to be one of the best rolls of the round. Very happy with that. We are almost home and dry, and we are currently only 3 over on the back 9, a very, very respectable score. Let's see if we can get back in without damaging the scorecard. We've got a short par 3, it really is short, only 115 yards. We take our 50 degree and we managed to land it just on the fringe of the green, which was a little bit frustrating, but not too bad. We take our 9-iron once again to bump and run this thing as close as possible. I was not dealing with that much fringe, especially since it was so long. It was just not rolling through with the putter, but the 9-iron does the business, gives us a good chance to get a par here. Let's see if it rolls in. We love to see it. I would say the 18th at Cheshunt is the sister hole to the 9th. They both go up the hill back towards the clubhouse. The only difference between the two holes is that the tee box on this one is further back and you are playing a par 5 instead of a par 4. I take driver, but look at how much wind there is. I hit it what I thought was quite well, but the wind plus the spin plus the bounce sent it going very, very, very far left over into the tree line. We do get blocked out and we are not going to be able to run it up as easily as I was hoping. We take 5-iron. I wanted to just get it up as far as possible so that we could attack the green for our third shot. Unfortunately, we hit this tree, comes out right, comes out high, all things that we were not hoping would happen. And we now have about 250 yards into the pin. So I decide that because there's a pond up the top, that laying up would be the best course of action. We take 9-iron and we lay up to about 100 yards from the pin. So we're going to see if we can get up and down from here with our 50 degree. We've got to go over the top of this tree. This was not an intentional place. I think the 9-iron went a little bit further than I wanted, but we do hit that really, really well, and we do manage to dunk it straight onto the middle of the green. So we've got a putt for par. Can we finish the back 9? Just 3 over, making it my second best ever 9. Unfortunately, we just don't finish that one, but we do tap in for the bogey. Many times I walk off the golf course thinking, what could have been? If only we hadn't had such a rotten front 9, we could have ended up with my best score ever. As it is, we finished the round with 86, which I am extremely happy about because that is 12 strokes better than what I was shooting here at my very best this time last year. So huge improvements on that front, and if we keep going the way we're going, we'll be breaking 80 before we know it. As it is, 86 is 2 strokes higher than my best ever, so extremely happy with that, especially with my performance on the back 9. Lots of positives to be taken. My takeaway from this round is to never give up. I'll also be looking to go away and practice my approach play. There were many opportunities for me to make GIRs which I just didn't capitalize on, and I know that is a fundamental flaw in my game. There'll be another video coming out later this week, guys, so please do subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos of things you'd like added or taken away or changes you'd like implemented, let me know down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.